Let's start presenting ourselves. My name is Marco Dubovski, Duba. I'm a product coordinator at PagSeguro in Brazil. It's a fintech.
Andy, Andressa, Chiara, which sometimes in English is difficult to pronounce, thus Andy. And I'm an Agile coach at Knowledge21. It's a consulting company for Agile transformation.
Okay.
We have an initiative called Team of Thought. It's a nonprofit initiative, and its purpose is to promote mastery learning and innovation through Agile.
Yeah, we do this in Brazil. We do some meetups and workshops to share knowledge, share about agility, and share about problem-solving techniques.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Go.
You have to change the slide.
Sorry.
The story starts with a pizza delivery guy. And what happened was we were both reading the Fit for Purpose book, right? And we were thinking that we would like to experiment with it. And he was traveling and I was home alone. And I decided I had a rough week, so I decided to treat myself to an enormous pizza from my favorite place. And when I got downstairs, because in São Paulo there's this weird thing, you have to go downstairs to get the food. And it's weird because if I wanted to go outside my house to get the food, probably I wouldn't have asked for them to deliver. Because I'm in my pajamas, right? So. But still, I went downstairs and the pizza guy started asking me questions like, oh, when the pizza gets here, is it still warm? Does it taste the same as when you eat in the restaurant? And how is the speed in which we deliver the pizza to you? How much time does it take? Is it enough for you? Is it fast enough for you? And I'm like, this is a pizza delivery guy. What the hell is going on? And I asked him, why are you asking me these questions? And he said, well, because I've been taking suggestions to my boss, and we've changed a few things, and we managed to increase sales by 10%. And I'm like, this is the pizza delivery guy. And I started coaching him. I couldn't help myself. Sorry. Because I'm that person, right? And when I find someone that's interested, I start talking. But the thing is, what I realized was that this guy, these people, they are very interested in their business and the improvement of it. So when I got home, I ate the pizza and I called him and I said, well, I think we found the place. I think we have the place for our case, right? And the thing about, when we talk about Kanban and practices, we talk a lot about efficiency, correct? We talk about how to improve organizations. And there are a lot of metrics for that. And we can improve the flow, we can reduce lead time, we reduce wait time, and there's a cumulative flow diagram, so we can adjust our bottlenecks. But when we're discussing business, there is one thing that's missing here, which is the world is changing, the businesses are changing, and the needs of our customers are changing all the time. And are we fit to adapt to those changes? Otherwise, if we're not, what are we delivering? Because our purpose here is to deliver value, and a good Kanban practitioner knows we have to talk about business agility, right? But to talk about business agility is not trivial. It's not something that simple. So having something that we can rely on to see, to tangibilize this evolution in terms of business is very necessary.
And so, as Andy said, we can use many metrics to measure and follow efficiency, but how do we know if all the effort we take and doing something is pointing to the right thing to do. One thing is do right something. And another thing, and very important one, is to assure if you're doing the right thing. So, you can have, for instance, a lot of effort, a lot of metrics, and everything's going okay, and delivering this. How many of you here knows what it is? Okay. Okay, I'll be there soon. How many of you here who knows what it is really like this? Oh, nobody. Interesting. So the next question is, how many of you finds this useful? It's not useful. This is the Microsoft Office feature to help. And certainly, there was a many metrics to measure if the velocity and the evolution of this development, but the final delivery was this. So it was probably doing in the right way, but it's not the right thing.
And it's a complex solution, right? Because this is the rudimentary, it's the basics of AI. So I have to understand what your question is and provide an answer and go through a wizard with you. So this is not trivial. This is not simple. Someone took great effort to deliver this.
And talking about business agility, it would be very, very interesting, very important for all of us if we have a framework or a way to search for the right thing to do. And, well, that's fit for purpose for. It's a framework created by David and by Alexei, and they point and focus all the effort to find the right thing to do. It's different to only, and it's full fitted to efficacy.
Efficacy.
Efficacy, not just to efficiency. Yeah.
Right.
So, talking about the framework, the fit for purpose shows us 3 components to every product or service we are working with. So, and these three components must be carried with the attention all the time. We can't neglect any one of them. We have to pay attention to all the 3. And these 3 components are the design, which means the idea, the ideation to what our product or service will be. The implementation, which means how am I delivering that thing that I designed. And
you execute, right?
It's about execution, it's about the how. And service delivery means the experience your product or service can impact your client. So it's so 3 points that you cannot let go. So the book brings an excellent example. Yesterday, Dave, in his keynote, talked about Justin Bieber in another way, with another approach. But there's a story that there was this show of Justin Bieber in India, and Justin has a huge amount of fans in India, that kind of fans that sleep on the line waiting for the day, the show's day. So when we relate the 3 components of Fit for Purpose to this show, we can think the design is the lyrics, the arrangement, and the implementation is related to the way the song is recorded, and the arrangements, and the crew, and the people who will work on the show. And the service delivery was the show itself, the way the Justin will present himself and offer to the people an experience. So the design was okay, The implementation was okay in this example, but the service delivery was horrible because Justin Bieber didn't sing by himself. He used a playback. So
In India.
in India, for these people, which was waiting for so long and so passionately to the Justin Bieber singing to him, he was using playback solution was terrible. And this is an excellent example of the three components.
When we talk about pizza, which is our case, design is the menu. It's the recipe. Is how you envision your product, right? And implementation is how you bake the pizza, for instance. If you have the oven too hot, your pizza will burn, right? And that will be terrible for your product. And for service delivery, we have the experience of eating that pizza. And this includes, for instance, how much time it takes for the pizza to arrive to the table and how cold the drinks are. So the customer's experience eating the pizza is the delivery part. When we talk about the ways we have to find out what the customers need and their purposes, there are methods that the framework gives us to apply. So one of these methods is to use the fit-for-purpose card and the box score. What is that? Usually when we talk about metrics, do you guys know NPS? NPS, Net Promoter Score? Who uses NPS? Great. The thing about NPS, I've been using NPS, so does Marco. And the thing that is a little frustrating about NPS is that it's not that insightful or actionable, right? I'm seeing heads going like this, so yeah. Why isn't it actionable? Because you ask someone, how much would you recommend in a scale from 0 to 10, how much would you recommend this product to a friend, right? And this is already better than do you like it, because when you think of recommending to a friend, you tend to be more upfront, more honest about your answer. However, if I say 6, what does that mean? Why is this a 6 and not a 10?
And what can I do with this information?
Exactly. And what I'm going to do next, I know it's a 6, but then? And the thing about Fit for Purpose is that we're going to explore the whys. We're going to explore the narratives, okay?
We're trying to find the right thing to do.
So when we have, thank you. When we are applying Fit for Purpose and we're doing the card, what we do is we have 3 questions, right? The first question is, why did you choose this product? What was your purpose in choosing this product? And this is an open question, so the person can answer like more than one purpose and so on. And the second thing I'm going to ask them is, from 5 to 0, right? How much was that product, that purpose fulfilled by the product? So a 5 is it exceeded all expectations, it's fulfilled and much more. And 0 is nothing is fulfilled, I hate you guys, basically, right?
I'll never come back or something like this.
I wish you'd burn.
Slowly.
And the third question you're going to ask is, okay, then tell me why you answered the second question the way you did. And this is where we get narratives, right? This is where we understand what this person is going through, because the same person in different situations will have different purposes. Okay?
Yeah, so before it, so, it's with me. We went to the pizza, what did we do? We went to the pizza house, we talked to the owner, and we convinced him to apply the fit for purpose framework in order to find the purpose of his client and make some implementation, some improvement in his business. So this is the model we use, and this is the actual card. We made it, and we asked him to deliver this card, this fit for purpose card, next to the bill. So we can, our objective is to the client fulfill this card after he had his experience.
Yeah, because otherwise, if I hand in the card before, I can't cross-check if the purpose was fulfilled, right?
And this is a real card.
Mm-hmm.
So we made this experiment, and then this is the box score, and I will talk to you a little about how to read it. We start from the right to the left, and the right part is the quantitative part. Is we had delivered 193 cards, and 25 clients answered it. So, and then, as Andy said, they could put more than one purpose per card. So, these 25 people set a total of 44 purposes to us, informed 44 purposes. And at the left side, we have the qualitative analysis, a percentage. So 91% is in the positive approach or the positive feedback. When we sum the scores 4 or 5, and 9% in this case of the Sojourno, which is the name of the pizza house, we sum the scores 3, and it's a neutral position. And the negative position sums the 2, 1, or 0 scores. And when we drill the...
Just a second. Go back one slide. To get this kind of result, these guys are good.
Yeah.
So it's not by chance that they're our favorite pizza house. These guys are good. They're awesome.
They're very, very good. So when we drill can you pass here?
Sorry.
Thank you. When we drill, then we open that total, that 44 purpose informed, purpose by purpose, we see these results. We can see the positive, neutral, and negative columns, and the total of purpose informed, purpose by purpose. And it's very, very interesting because it allows us to make a deep analysis about what leads the clients there.
Mm-hmm. And this is my favorite part of the framework, because one of the things, I coach a lot of product managers, and this is one of the things they struggled with most, which is, okay, I have data. I finally have data. What do I do? Right? What's the strategy? And this helps everybody think strategically. This is a matrix in which you're going to be able to identify what is your next step. So, connecting what we just saw with the matrix, what we see is that, remember we had nothing that was negative, right? So we don't have anything in these quadrants. And this is divided by what purposes I have that are my target and what purposes I have that aren't connected to my target. Okay? So here I have these purposes that the clients were seeking but are neutral. And this means that I have to improve them. So I have to invest to improve the social aspect, the drinks, and the events. One thing that they were spending money on was location. They were communicating promotions and flyers and so on to neighbors. But when we asked them, well, is this what you want? Do you want to connect with the community around the pizza house? And they said, well, no, it doesn't make any difference for us. Then okay, then why are you spending money on this? It's not necessary. So this is something that we can abandon maybe, right?
But we also don't need to overserve.
Exactly. And these are the things we have to protect, encourage, and grow. Because these are the things that people are already happy with. However, promotions, we didn't see, there isn't a specific strategy that says, well, we have to have good promotions, we have to be cheap. On the contrary, it's a gourmet experience. So maybe doing promotions, maybe we're overserving the client. Of course, they're not going to complain,
Yeah.
but am I spending the money in the right place, right? So this is the idea of this.
It's
Sorry, go on. And one thing that was that we were a little shocked was that they have like crazy, very stylish desserts. Like this is a chocolate mousse with bacon, right? And they're all like that. It's like a souffle and so on.
They had an alien tiramisu.
Yeah, and nobody mentioned the desserts.
The dessert
we were like,
was not purpose for no one who rode the car.
And we were like, huh. And we started asking, like, how much do you spend on these desserts? And are you having waste and so on, right? Because we were very intrigued.
So, when we now that we know the purposes of the Sojourner's clients, we can, and we have an open. Now we have the no purpose by purpose. What make the people go there. So it's very, very important to can segment this group of purposes into some kind of similarity, which allows us to apply that business strategy matrix that Andy said, and make and allow the business owner to make adjustments in his strategy, and effectively create some kind of approaches that make the business better and fit for the people who go there.
Mm-hmm. And to help them with that, we created personas, right? We basically identified that there were two clusters. Like everybody wanted good food, so this was okay. We knew that this was a very important purpose, but given that, we had two very different type of purposes settings. We have the people who like the idea that I get there and it's a cozy environment and the waiter knows my name and knows what kind of pizza I like. They know the kind of olive oil we like. So,
and it's true story. They really know.
True story. And when we get there, it's usually, oh, Marco, we have a suggestion for you. We just got this new flavor, blah, blah, blah. And Andy, for you, Rosmarino? And I go like, yeah.
And Coke Zero and...
Yeah. So they know
ice.
us. And this is not just us. It's everybody that go there, right? So you have this type of person, the person that goes there for the environment, for the service. For the cozy atmosphere, and to enjoy good food. And you have this other persona, the one that's going there to celebrate something, to hang out with their friends, to listen to good music, right? So we created two personas to help them with this.
Sorry, that came from the narratives on the card?
Yes. Actually, it came from the narratives, but also from the grouping of the purposes, right? Because just the narratives won't help you get there and group them.
This draw goes to this grouping.
That are the same ones as below.
Personas.
See? So you can clearly see there are two different types of behavior. So we have Sandra and Paulo. Sandra is basically my type of gal. And Paulo is not my type of person. But still, Paulo exists. Paulo goes there.
And I'm both at the same time.
You like talking to people, but not that much. So this is where we really got them to try and identify the two personas with their customers, right? Try to talk to them and identify so they could serve them better.
And at this point, we already know what makes people go to the Sojourner. So, and knowing this, it makes our life easier in order to find the right fitness criteria for what we have to adapt or maintain or improve in the business strategy to match the criteria. Because Paulo and Sandra doesn't necessarily have the same criteria to go there. For instance, we have the framework presents us with a lot of fitness criteria, some kind of time-oriented. And for instance, we can use to Paulo, which more interested in chat with friends and celebrate and socialize. The duration is something very, very important for him. If the service will hush him to pay the bill and to stay a little longer or to free some space to another client, he will be very, very annoyed about it. However, otherwise, for Sandra, the timeliness is very, very important. Let's imagine, for instance, Sandra is will have an appointment 1 hour after she went to the pizzeria, and she is waiting for a friend. And her friend told her that she would arrive in 20 minutes, and she knows that pizza will be delivered after order it in 10 minutes. So one fitness criteria in this case, which applies, it's a very perfect fit to Sandra, is
Knowing exactly.
It's punctuality, it's predictability. Because if she order at the moment her friend told her that she'll need 20 minutes to come, and she ordered pizza, and 10 minutes later the pizza will be delivered, that will be probably less warm when the friend really arrives. Mm-hmm. So another aspect, another fitness criteria that is relevant for Sandra is timeliness. She will have an appointment 1 hour later, and if any part of the service delivery will make she stay at the pizzeria after the time she needs, it will certainly not good for her. And when we talk about quality, it's another aspect of the fitness criteria the framework provides us. We can apply the functional and non-functional quality to both, but Sandra probably, in this case, will be oriented to the two aspects of quality, both functional and non-functional quality. Otherwise...
yeah, Sandra will probably care a lot more about the pizza quality than Paulo, because Paulo just wants to hang out and have talk to his friends, right?
If Paulo order a pepperoni pizza and the pizza house brings him a margarita, it's not be a problem at all. But for Sandra, it will be a catastrophe. Mm-hmm. And the last aspect of the framework is the conformity, the safety conformity. And for both, probably it's important to the ingredients and the way of preparing is fit to the health regulations. Mm-hmm. And the final product would be very, very fit with this criteria. We, in this moment, we want to talk about another case, not in the pizza universe. This is Nubank. It's a fintech from Brazil. Nubank was a company was aimed to be fit for purpose. They choose to attend specifically to a few fitness criteria, not at all, not all the types at the same time. They saw with the Brazilian market, Brazilian financial services market, that the credit cards are very, very confused and very difficult to manage. And then they created a card, this card, which is very, very simple to use, and this card empowers the client to manage all the cycle of credit. And this is a huge difference about the other, compared to the other credit cards offered by the banks, the huge banks in Brazil. And this strategy was so successful that the bank was elected the best bank in Brazil.
And we're talking about a bank that has like 5 million customers against 60 million, like in Itaú, for instance. So for them to overpass a bank like Itaú, it's quite a feat. And doing like 3 features in their card. First iteration, 3 features, discovery. They did a lot of testing, a lot of iteration, because they knew that they were discovering. They were testing if their product was fit for purpose. And this is something we all should learn from, right? Because when we talk about, like, the other speakers showed like great advancements in their companies, but one thing that I think sometimes we miss is that how do we deal with failure, with invalidating our hypothesis, right? How do we discover things? And this is something this framework helps a lot with. So how do you measure success? How do you measure that you're in the right path to build the right thing?
And how can we turn this thing that you measured in actions, in real actions, to the business strategy?
Mm-hmm.
So back to the Sojourner.
So back to the pizza. When we discussed with them after the results, we decided to take a look on the 4 types of metrics we could assess. So the first is your business fit for purpose? Do you attend to the fitness criteria your customer needs? And we had the results of the fit for purpose box score to help us with that. But when we went to health indicators, they did measure things like lead time. However, they were not paying attention to waste, for instance, with the dessert, right? They had a lot of waste. They were spending a lot of money trying to keep the desserts in their menu. And the desserts weren't even mentioned as a purpose, right? They had no improvement drivers. So sometimes you can improve something and then it becomes a health metric, right? But they didn't have that. They didn't know what they wanted to improve. But they did have a lot of metrics that were vanity metrics, like, for instance, how many likes do I get on Instagram? And funny thing, usually the desserts had a lot of likes. So they used this and they were very passionate about their solution. They loved the idea of the desserts. So we were saying, let's try and experiment with something new. And they were like, no, our desserts are perfect.
Yeah. They struggled a lot.
Yeah. And what we did was, in Brazil, I don't know about other countries, but in Brazil, when you go to a pizza place and you think about dessert, you usually think about 2 things that are very basic, which are a chocolate pizza and a banana pizza with cinnamon on it. Okay? And what we see, the Brazilians are all going like, yeah. So what we asked them if they were willing to do is, are you willing to try an experiment? Because this is something that we should really validate. Either we're going to pivot this, or you shouldn't be doing desserts, because it's not on your purposes, right? So you're over-serving, and this has nothing to do with what your client needs. So We can try, we can experiment, and if it goes awry, okay, we'll drop it. If it does well, then
Or
we found a
can
niche.
have an opportunity here.
Exactly. So we asked them to, for a week, just a week, to try and experiment with those two flavors. And we asked them, is the effort for this big? No, but we don't want to taint the name of the restaurant. And we were like, it's just an experiment. If you don't like it, it's okay. Just trash it. And they tried it. And in that first week, the dessert sales went 10% up. And they were like, And this is their menu today. You see, there is a whole size of sweet pizzas that never existed before this experience. And
At first, they had 8 different desserts.
that none were pizza.
Yeah, and
Right.
this left side didn't exist.
They're still attached to the tiramisu, though. So this side is the pure attachment to solution, and this side is what actually is selling, right? And I want you guys to guess, how much did the sales increase? Almost 60. 60% increase in sales for desserts, and waste to basically nothing. So we had a drop in waste, we had an excellent increase in sales, and now they just, the options are more classy. So my favorite is Portofino. It's brie cheese, Lindt white chocolate, red
Jelly.
berries jam, and vanilla ice cream.
It's fantastic.
It's wonderful.
It's delicious.
It's very good. So now when I go there, I always order Rosmarino, which is my favorite pizza, and now a sweet pizza for dessert. So the thing here is that, this is a quote by Senge. He says that the committed person doesn't play by the rules of the game. They are responsible for the game. So if something happens and they see that the rules are preventing them to achieve a vision, they change the rules.
Do you remember, guys, the pizza delivery guy?
He was trying to change the
He was
rules.
trying to change the rules.
And so were we. So if your business has rules, but this is preventing you from reaching a vision, well, Fit for Purpose is a great way to start changing them. And the idea here is that purpose paves the way to vision. If the purpose is not clear, both for your company and your view on your client's purposes, it's hard to reach the vision. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
So questions, do we have time for questions?
Yes, yes, please.
Awesome.
Okay, so speaking of purpose, was the purpose of this to basically prove out that you can use this in anywhere, regardless of whether software or
Yes.
anything else?
Yeah, because it would have been fairly easy to do this in our work, because we wouldn't have to really convince anyone that doesn't know us, because we have a relationship of confidence established in both our works. So if we say, let's try something, usually people will go like, okay, let's try it. And we wanted it to be hard. We wanted to be able to sell because of the value of the framework. And to do that, we had to get out of our comfort zone.
Yeah,
Right?
very cool.
So that's pizza. Nobody else?
What I'm curious about is if you got plenty pizza for your life after improving the pizza
We
business.
should, right?
Eating for sure.
We should. We should. Every time we go there, Marco, the waiter, he hugs us.
So hugs.
Hugs
Okay,
for life.
Good one. Thank you. Awesome.
I consider him my friend.
You consider everybody a friend.
But he brings me food. so-
Okay. So there's a
It's a
reason.
very dear one. Yeah.
Totally should, right? No questions. Because this is not, it's not that it's
trivial.
difficult
Yeah.
to apply, but it's